Crack versus meth, the racial double standard. Crack cocaine exploded in black inner cities during the 1980s. Media framed it as a black drug crisis, with violent imagery and super predator myths led to the Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1986, which created the 100-to-1 sentencing disparity. 5 grams of crack equal same sentence as 500 grams of powder cocaine. Result: mass incarceration of black men, even for small-time dealing or possession. Crystal meth became more prevalent in white, rural, and suburban communities in the 1990s and 2000s. Media and politicians framed meth as a public health emergency, not a criminal epidemic. Focus was more on treatment, education, and meth lab cleanup, not mass imprisonment. Police responses were often more lenient, and sentences were lighter than crack-related offenses. A 2006 study by the ACLU and Sentencing Project showed that Black Americans were imprisoned at much higher rates for crack than whites were for meth, despite similar addiction and dealing patterns. Even when meth became a bigger issue, Congress didn't pass laws that targeted users as harshly as it did for crack. Meth penalties are severe, but the criminal justice system applied them differently and often more sympathetically for white users. Crack was punished like a war. Meth was treated like a health issue. The difference? Who was using it? Crack hit black neighborhoods, so they brought out the SWAT teams, the helicopters, the prison buses. Meth hit white towns, and they brought out the therapists and scientists. That's the double standard of the drug war in America. Before 2010, under federal law, 5 grams of crack cocaine equals 5-year mandatory minimum sentence. 500 grams of health powder cocaine equals also 5 years. You'd need 100 times more powder cocaine than crack to get the same sentence. You basically need a book bag of powder coke to get the same charge as a person who has a handful of crack. Now explain yourself this. What is the possibility of one carrying a backpack of that large amount of coke as opposed to someone carrying a handful of crack? This hit hardest. Crack was more common in black communities, urban poor areas. Powder was more common in white and wealthy circles, suburbs, clubs. So this law targeted and punished black users and dealers more harshly, even if they were nonviolent and carrying small amounts. In 2010, President Obama signed the Fair Sentencing Act into law. It reduced the crack to powder sentencing disparity from 100-to-1 to 18-to-1. So now 28 grams of crack equals 5 years, 500 grams of powder, still 5 years. No longer 100-to-1, but still unequal. Apply retroactively, not at first. In 2011, the U.S. Sentencing Commission made the law partially retroactive. In 2018, the First Step Act under Trump allowed more inmates sentenced under the old 100-to-1 rule to apply for reduced sentences, but not automatic. In 2011, the U.S. Sentencing Commission made the law partially retroactive. In 2018, the First Step Act under Trump allowed more inmates sentenced under the old 100-to-1 rule to apply for reduced sentences, but not automatic. Before 2010, if you had just a handful of crack rocks, you get the same sentence as someone with half a kilo of powder. That law put thousands of black folks in prison for decades. Obama's law fixed part of it, but it's still not equal. Crack is punished way harsher than powder, even though chemically they're almost the same drug.